Sunday dinners at Parker Manor had become an exercise in endurance. I picked at my mother's roast beef, watching my sister Olivia hold court at the other end of the table, her Harvard MBA practically radiating from her expertly highlighted hair. "The merger is almost complete," she announced, adjusting her Cartier watch. "Parker Industries will be under new management by the end of the month. Dad's legacy secured." I tried not to laugh at the irony. If only they knew who was really behind that merger. Who really controlled their precious family company's fate. "That's wonderful, darling," my mother beamed. "And how's the new penthouse?" "Perfect view of Central Park," Olivia preened. "Though the mortgage is absolutely criminal. Thank goodness for my executive bonus." My father cleared his throat, turning his attention to me with that familiar look of disappointment. "And what about you, Kate? Still playing around with that, what do you call it?" "Pie company," I said quietly, thinking of the empire I'd built while they weren't looking. "Nova Digital Solutions." Olivia snorted into her wine glass. "Company? Please. You post Instagram stories about entrepreneurship and call it a business." If she only knew that Nova Digital had become one of the largest digital transformation companies in the world. That while she was bragging about her penthouse view, I was orchestrating billion-dollar deals from my humble home office. "It pays the bills," I said mildly. "Bills?" My mother's face creased with concern. "Darling, you live in that tiny house in Brooklyn. Surely you could get a real job. Olivia could put in a word at Parker Industries." I thought about my tiny house. Actually a restored brownstone worth more than Olivia's penthouse. The home office where I directed global operations. The secure server room in the basement that helped run half of New York's digital infrastructure. "I'm comfortable where I am." "Comfortable isn't successful," my father lectured. "Look at your sister, vice president of operations at 32. Following in my footsteps, making the Parker name mean something." The Parker name. Everything always came back to that. 3 generations of industrial success, now trying to survive in a digital world they barely understood. Not that they'd admit it. "Someone has to carry on the family legacy," Olivia smirked. "While others play entrepreneur on social media." My phone buzzed quietly. A message from my actual assistant, not the Instagram followers Olivia thought I spent my days counting. "Final merger documents ready for review. Parker Industries board is getting nervous." "At least I'm building something of my own," I said. "Building what?" Olivia laughed. "A following of wannabe girl bosses? How many subscribers do you have now? 1,000? 2? I thought about Nova Digital's real numbers. Over 5,000 employees across 3 continents. Contracts with Fortune 500 companies. A client list that included governments and global corporations. And now, secretly, the company orchestrating Parker Industries' merger." "Something like that," I murmured. "Kate." My father's voice carried that heavy disappointment I'd known since childhood. "You had such potential. Top of your class at MIT, offers from major tech firms. And you threw it all away for what? To be an influencer?" I sat back, remembering why I'd chosen this path. After graduating, I'd seen the future of industry, not in giant factories and corner offices, but in digital transformation and cloud solutions. I tried to tell them, to show them how to adapt Parker Industries for the modern age. They hadn't listened. "The world is changing, Dad," I said quietly. "Business isn't just about physical assets anymore." "Business is business," he declared firmly. "Real business. Manufacturing. Distribution. Things you can touch. Not this internet nonsense." My phone buzzed again. Parker Industries stock down 12% since merger announcement. Board meeting tomorrow to discuss options. Speaking of business, Olivia sat up straighter. "Did you hear about our latest acquisition? We're buying out our biggest digital competitor. Some startup that's been stealing our contracts." I hid my smile behind my wine glass. That startup was one of Nova Digital's shell companies, created specifically to pressure Parker Industries into this merger. Every contract they'd lost had been carefully orchestrated, pushing them toward this moment. "Really?" I asked innocently. "What company?" "Atlas Tech Solutions," my father answered proudly. "Paying a premium but worth it to eliminate the competition." Atlas Tech, named after my childhood cat, though they'd never make the connection. A company that existed only on paper, designed to make Parker Industries overpay for outdated technology. Interesting strategy, I said. You wouldn't understand the complexities, Olivia waved her hand dismissively. It's high-level corporate strategy, not Instagram stories about motivation. Probably true, I agreed, thinking of the real strategy behind this merger. How Nova Digital had spent 2 years positioning itself to acquire Parker Industries, using their own outdated thinking against them. I just wish, my mother sighed, you'd consider coming back to the family business. There must be something suitable, in marketing perhaps. I thought about tomorrow's board meeting. About the revelation that would shatter their illusions. About the moment they'd realize who really controlled their company's fate. Actually, I said carefully, I have some interesting business developments of my own coming up. Oh. Olivia's voice dripped condescension. Landing a sponsored post? Maybe a collaboration with some other wannabe entrepreneur. My phone lit up with another message. Miss Parker, urgent. Board members requesting early meeting. They're starting to realize Atlas Tech acquisition numbers don't add up. Something like that, I smiled. You might even hear about it tomorrow. Tomorrow. My father frowned. What's tomorrow? Just another day in the digital world. I stood up, gathering my things. Thanks for dinner, Mom. Leaving so soon? Olivia called after me. Hot date with your ring light? I paused at the door, taking in their faces one last time, my father's disappointment, my mother's worry, Olivia's smug superiority. Tomorrow everything would change. Actually, I said softly, I have some merger documents to review. The drive home in my Tesla, bought with Nova Digital profits, though they thought I still took the subway, gave me time to think. To remember every dismissive comment, every condescending smile, every lecture about real business. In my home office I reviewed the final merger strategy. Parker Industries was hemorrhaging money, their traditional business model crumbling in the digital age. Tomorrow they'd discover that Atlas Tech was worthless, and that their only salvation was a complete acquisition by Nova Digital Solutions. My phone lit up with family messages. Mom, darling, please consider what we discussed. Olivia, still time to get a real job, sis. Dad, the Parker name means something. Don't waste your potential. I set the phone aside, turning to the wall of screens where I monitored Nova Digital's global operations. Streams of data flowed across them, representing billions in digital transactions, thousands of employees, and one carefully orchestrated plan coming to fruition. Sometimes success doesn't look like corner offices and executive titles. Sometimes it grows quietly, hidden behind Instagram stories and dismissed ambitions, building something far bigger than anyone suspects. Tomorrow they'd learn that lesson the hard way. The Parker Industries headquarters stood exactly as it had for 3 generations, a towering monument to old money and traditional business. The same brass nameplate, the same mahogany-paneled lobby, the same air of fading grandeur. But today was different. Today everything would change. Ms. Parker, my assistant Jennifer greeted me in the private elevator, not an Instagram DM, but a Harvard Business School graduate who'd chosen Nova Digital over traditional corporations. The board is assembled. Your father is agitated. I smoothed my Chanel suit, a far cry from the casual clothes my family associated with my internet business. Have they figured it out yet? They know something's wrong with Atlas Tech. The numbers don't match their due diligence. But they haven't made the connection to Nova Digital. Perfect. Let them sweat a little longer. The top floor boardroom buzzed with nervous energy. Through the glass walls I could see my father pacing, his usually immaculate suit slightly rumpled. Olivia sat at the table frantically flipping through papers. Board members huddled in corners, whispering urgently. Ready? Jennifer asked, tablet in hand. I thought about every Sunday dinner, every dismissive comment, every lecture about real business. Oh yes. The room fell silent as I walked in. My father froze mid-pace. Olivia's papers scattered across the table. Kate. She managed. What are you doing here? This is a closed board meeting. Is it? I smiled, taking my place at the head of the table. I believe as CEO of Nova Digital Solutions, I have every right to be here. Nova Digital. My father's face went pale. What are you talking about? Jennifer stepped forward smoothly. Allow me to introduce Catherine Parker, founder and CEO of Nova Digital Solutions, the company currently acquiring Parker Industries. The silence that followed was deafening. Board members stared. Olivia's mouth opened and closed without sound. My father gripped the back of his chair for support. This is impossible, he finally managed. You run an internet business. Social media. No, Dad. I pulled up Nova Digital's corporate overview on the screens. I run a global digital transformation company. One that's been systematically positioning itself to acquire Parker Industries for the past 2 years. Olivia found her voice. But Atlas Tech is a shell company. I enjoyed watching the realization dawn on her face. One of several we created to pressure Parker Industries into this position. Every contract you lost, every digital client who disappeared, that was us. You've been deliberately sabotaging us? My father's voice shook. No. I've been showing you exactly what you refused to see years ago, that the business world has changed. That digital transformation isn't just internet nonsense. That the Parker name needs to evolve or die. The screens filled with data, Nova Digital's true reach, our client list, our market valuation. Numbers that made Parker Industries look like a small family business in comparison. $12 billion in annual revenue, I continued. Operations in 28 countries. Over 5,000 employees. And yes, an Instagram account where I post about entrepreneurship. Why? Olivia whispered. Why all the deception? Would you have listened otherwise? I met her eyes. When I tried to tell you about digital transformation, you called it a fad. When I suggested modernizing Parker Industries, Dad said I didn't understand real business. My father sank into his chair. The merger terms are non-negotiable. I distributed the final documents. Nova Digital will acquire Parker Industries at current market value, which I should mention has dropped another 15% since yesterday. We'll modernize operations, integrate digital solutions, and drag this company into the 21st century. And us. Olivia's voice was small. What happens to us? That depends. I leaned back, enjoying the role reversal. You can stay, learn how modern business actually works, adapt to the digital age. Or you can walk away with your shares paid out at market value. Your choice. A board member cleared his throat. Miss Parker, the numbers we're seeing here, your company's technology, is light years ahead of Parker Industries, I finished. While you were all focused on traditional manufacturing, we were building the future. While you dismissed digital transformation as a trend, we were revolutionizing entire industries. Your tiny house in Brooklyn, my father said suddenly. It's not really tiny, is it? I laughed softly. It's a fully restored brownstone worth $8 million. With a secure server room in the basement that helps run New York's digital infrastructure. But you never visited, so you wouldn't know that. And all those hours on social media. Olivia started. Were spent building relationships with global tech leaders. Managing international operations. Directing digital strategy for Fortune 500 companies. I smiled. The Instagram stories were just a bonus. And an excellent cover. Jennifer appeared at my side with more urgent messages. Nova Digital's stock was up on news of the acquisition. Tech blogs were already calling it the merger of the year. Old money meets digital innovation. The papers need to be signed today, I said, checking my watch. Before Parker Industries loses any more value. My father stood up shakily. You planned all of this. Every step. I learned from you, Dad. You always said business was about strategy, about seeing the bigger picture. I met his eyes. I just saw a bigger picture than you could imagine. The next hour passed in a blur of signatures and legal proceedings. Board members quietly congratulated me, finally recognizing who really held the power in the room. Olivia sat silently, her Harvard MBA suddenly seeming inadequate compared to what I'd built. As the last signature dried, my father approached my chair. Why didn't you tell us? He asked quietly. All these years. Would you have believed me? I gathered my things. When I tried to tell you the world was changing, you said I was chasing trends. When I saw the future of business, you said I was wasting my potential. So I stopped telling and started doing. And now you own our company, Olivia said from across the room. No. I turned to her. How I'm saving our company. Dragging it into an age you refuse to acknowledge. Making the Parker name mean something in the modern world, not just in history books. That evening I sat in my real office. Not the home setup they'd mocked, but the top floor of Nova Digital's Manhattan headquarters. The city sparkled below, a digital network of possibilities I'd seen long before they could. My phone lit up with messages. Mom, we had no idea. All this time. Olivia, can we talk? Please? I want to understand. Dad, you proved me wrong. About everything. I smiled, turning to the wall of screens showing Nova Digital's global operations. Success isn't always about corner offices and executive titles. Sometimes it's built quietly behind dismissed dreams and underestimated ambitions. Sometimes it grows in the very spaces others mock until it becomes too big to ignore. The next family dinner was different. No more lectures about real business. No more jokes about social media. Instead, they asked questions, finally ready to understand that the future they'd dismissed had already arrived. Olivia stayed with the company, humbled but eager to learn. My father stepped back, acknowledging that his understanding of business needed to evolve. My mother stopped worrying about my internet hobby and started bragging about her daughter, the tech suit. Me. I keep building, keep innovating, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the digital age. Sometimes from my office, sometimes from my home setup, because real power isn't about where you work, it's about what you create. The Parker name means something different now in business circles. Not because of 3 generations of traditional industry, but because one underestimated daughter saw the future and built it while everyone else was laughing. One digital transformation at a time.